Part's been taking a little bit lately.
Spinning.
Real life.
Please rise. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call to order the March 10th Jefferson County Council, Jefferson County, Indiana meeting. The first order of business was to approve the minutes from the February 10th meeting. Does anybody have any corrections or disagreements with?
I saw none.
Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion, if nobody has any problem with that as recorded, that we accept those.
So moved.
Second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Let's see, the next order of business, we have, I'm gonna butcher your name. Judy
Judy Turpin.
Turpinning?
Yep.
Okay, she's here this evening. Are we gonna have the Zoom meeting or are they here live in person tonight? Okay,
In person.
so the podium's yours.
Hey, thank you. Greetings, everyone. Thank you for allowing me this time to share some information about the library, about who we are, what we're doing, and what our goals are for the future. A little bit about me. As I said, my name is Judy Turpinning. I am the director of the Jefferson County Public Library System. I've been there as director since 2018. I've been in the library field since 2009. I've seen a lot of changes in those 17 years. I have a master's degree in library science from Indiana University and a bachelor's degree in political science from UCF. I'm represent public libraries at the state level for the Indiana Library Federation. I'm on their board. And locally, I'm on the County Commissioners Health Insurance Committee. And during that time, but now disbanded, was the Broadband Task Force, and I worked on that as well. I left all of you a copy of the history of the library. So can't be a library meeting without bringing a book. This is one and that's for you to keep. This was written by Camille Fife. Many of you are probably familiar with her. She was working at the library at the time when we were celebrating our 200th anniversary in 2018. And so she compiled the history of the library, but it also is a great read about the history of our community at the same time, because you can't have the history of the library without the history of the community. So I thought that I would show you what the library looked like before it was upgraded. On page 49 is the Powell Mansion. That was built in 1904, 1911, and the library board bought it in 1929. So the library was in that building for about 35 years when they started outgrowing their space. And then, so if you want to see what the schematics look like on page 69, that was the drawing for what you now know as the Madison Library section building. So that was about, like I said, about 35 years. Now we're into 61, 62 years later, and we're in the same position. We've outgrown our space. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about what we do. Of course, books are always what people think of when they think of the library, but we do a lot of other services as well. About half of the people that come to the library are interested in the books, and about half of them are interested in the programs and services that we offer. One of the things that we often see people, and they could do both. They come into fax and copy and we use notary services. We're the only place in town that offers free notary services. We get a lot of calls for that. Last year, and this is in your packet, is just kind of some highlights. I won't read it to you because I know you guys don't read. But I'll just hit some of the highlights. So we had over 75,000 visitors last year. And obviously that could be the same person going in and out, you know, multiple times, but that's how many people came through our doors in both the main library and the Hanover Library. We had over 190,000 items borrowed, and that includes your physical books, but it also includes music, movies, magazines, video games, hotspots. We check out reading kits for kids so that they can learn how to read. And we also have a lot of digital resources as well. The library currently has about we have 23 employees, not about, I haven't lost any of them. We have 23 employees, about half of them are full-time. We also have volunteers and interns, usually anywhere between 4 and 10 that help us out throughout the year. Our library cards, of course, are free, thanks to taxpayers' funds for all Jefferson County residents. Right now, we have about 7,600 active library card holders, and we have, well, you can read. So, technology is where I've seen the biggest changes in the 17 years that I've been in the library career, and that has changed how people are using the building. So obviously, we still need space for books. If you ever go to the children's room, you'll understand that we need more space there because we've got bookshelves on top of bookshelves on top of bookshelves. And it's very hard to get around in that room. But we also have people who want to use the building for meetings. As you know, some of you are probably there for the Republican caucus. So we have a lot of outside groups that want to use the library, but they're often in conflict because we only have 2 spaces at Madison and 2 at Hanover. So getting on the schedule can be kind of a challenge. Last year, we're required to, but also we wanted to create a strategic plan for the next 5 years. So I wrote a grant, and the Community Foundation helped fund the consulting service that we used. And what we found was that, so we did a combination of things. One of the things I really wanted to do with this strategic plan this time was to really look at what the community wants and to reach out forward with what the community wants. So we started having community conversations where we invited residents to come and talk and see what they wanted for the community, what they thought was lacking, and how the library could serve those purposes. We also did 34 community leader interviews. Some of you were on that list. And then we sent out a survey and received 518 survey responses. With that information, what we kept hearing over and over and over again was that the library is an important community resource. There was 93.5% of the people said that that was true. And, not to brag, but we just got the Madison's the best family and community resource from the Madison Area Chamber of Commerce. So about 80% of the people that we surveyed said that they'd like to see quiet study areas. We have one. So obviously we're lacking in that, and that's at Hanover. So that we have no spaces in Madison that really serve that purpose. About 72% of the people who come through our door are attending programs. Again, we're sharing the 2 spaces for meetings and programs. So that's why oftentimes it's hard to get in for those. So this is something that we just kept hearing over and over again, that this was an area, the library is one of the few places that you can come for free to have a meeting. You don't have to buy a cup of coffee to use our Wi-Fi services. You can, you're welcome anytime. Also in your packet are some pictures about the building itself. Like I said, the building that we're currently in, and I will tell you that the campus, I guess, for Jefferson County Public Library includes 4 buildings. So we have the main library at Madison on Main Street that you'll see. We also have a building that's whole purpose is to house the boiler. And then another building that is the annex, and that is currently, we're letting the Friends of the Library borrow that to store books for book sales. And then we have the Hanover Library as well. So this was just a few quick snapshots that I took just walking around the building so that you could see some of the age and some of the construction issues that we're having. We're having some foundation issues. There's concrete that's breaking, the box gutters are leaking, which causes them to leak water when it's raining in front of where people are walking and then they freeze. The doors are deteriorating, the windows are deteriorating. There's some more building issues on the back of that page, and some of the ones that are interior are actually where some of our staff work with the ceiling falling down on them. But wait, there's more. So there's some pictures down at the bottom that show you like also we're not very accessible. So I put that yardstick down there so you could see that the space between some of the stacks, and that's what library jargon for shelving. So is less than 36 inches. So if you've got a wheelchair or even a walker, you're gonna have an issue trying to get down there. So we're not very accessible at this point. And that is something that we'd like to do. The ramp going into the building is also, the bricks are coming up. It needs a lot of work. The other issue, besides just some of that work, and of course, it also needs some TLC as far as like new flooring and paint and, you know, some of those things that have not been upgraded in decades. The other issue is the HVAC system. It was put in 2003. So, besides the fact that it's humongous, and not efficient, we're having trouble getting parts for it because it's so old. Refrigerant is like that. I'm pretty sure they just buy it up about the back of their truck somewhere because that you just can't get it anymore. And because it's not efficient, our utility costs are ridiculously expensive. So last year we gave Duke Energy $51,000 to cover the electrical bill. The gas, which is what the boiler runs off of, was almost $12,000. So, and it's not just the HVAC system, it's a combination of things. It's leaky windows, leaky doors. And there's like little to no insulation in the ceiling. Parking is also an issue, as anybody that goes downtown knows. So one of the things we'd like to do is if we can get the HVAC system back into the building, we can alleviate and get rid of the two buildings that are in the back that's what they're housing right now. You also see a picture of the chiller just behind this lovely privacy fence. Some other problems that we have are the bathrooms. I didn't take any pictures of that, sorry. They have some areas that are kind of inaccessible and they do need some updating. They're also, you can't get to them from the main floor. You have to either take steps or an elevator to get to those, which causes an issue if you have mobility issues. And we are very short on storage space. So where are we going? We've outgrown the space. As I said, it's been over 60 years since anything thoughtful has been done to the library. I did find an architect, he's with KRM Architecture, and he has built a lot of libraries. So he understands the needs of a modern public library, but he is very responsive and to the fact that we want the look of the library to remain the same. We want the same look on the front so that, you know, that's still part of the historic part of Madison. It would just look different on the inside. So some of the things that we've been doing is we've been working on grants as much as possible. But as you know, so we just got a grant for a new bookmobile. Some of you are aware, and all of you will be getting invitations for our ribbon cutting, which is April 10th. We are looking forward to using that as one of the things that we ran into with the strategic plan process was that people who live on the hilltop felt kind of left out. You know, so we've got Hanover covered, we got downtown covered, and we definitely need to meet the people where they are. So that's why we are doing the bookmobile. We also write grants for digital literacy classes, some of our programs like Author Talks, summer reading programs, our local history department digitization projects, internships. but they don't cover everything. So, you're gonna hear from some of my colleagues, from Jason Tanzel from Baker Tilly and Sarah Correll from Ice Miller, who will talk more about that. But I do want to say that if you ever want a tour, my business card is in each one of the packets. Please just give me a call or send me an email. I'll be glad to take you on a tour. You can even go into the secret hallways that the public doesn't normally see. And I'd be glad to show you around. So that is all I have for now, but I would like to open up if you have any questions for me. Okay, if you think of any at the end, I'll be here the whole time. All right, thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Julie.
Good evening. Appreciate the opportunity to be here. Council members, my name is Jason Tansel with Baker Tilly, and we represent the library as its municipal advisor. And so in your packet, you should have a presentation that looks like this. But before that, there should also have been a schedule of the costs associated with the project that Mr. Bennett just went over. And so you'll see from that cost estimate from KRM that the amount that is needed for the library is roughly $9,730,000. So tonight, my responsibility here is to discuss how the library could issue a property tax supported bond in the amount of $10 million to pay for these projects. But I also want to make clear that because the library has no debt currently outstanding, that this would be a new levy. This would be a levy and tax rate increase for the overlapping district of the library. So with that, we will turn to slide 2 of the financial presentation. And you will see that currently the library has no general obligation debt outstanding. Currently, the library would consider issuing a general obligation bond, and there is a limitation as to how much municipal entities in Indiana can issue. This limitation is 2% of 1/3 of the most recent net assessed value, which you can see for 2026 is over 1.7 billion. So again, 2% of 1/3 of that is $11,345,000. So the $10 million borrowing amount discussed here this evening fits within this parameter. If you would go to the next slide. On slide 3, we have a summary of this $10 million property tax supported bond. You'll see after bond costs associated with the project, we would have an amount available of $9,730,000. And if the library were to receive approvals, it would anticipate issuing this bond this year in 2026, hitting the tax rate next year in 2027. Currently, the library is looking at a repayment term on this bond of 15 years. In Indiana, the maximum term is 20 years, so the library is looking at a 15-year repayment term, trying to minimize interest expense, which you'll see on our next line is roughly $5.6 million. I do want to point out that we try to be conservative with these estimates. This $5.6 million interest expense amount is based upon a 6% interest rate. And today the bond market is a little more aligned with 4%. So we do feel that we are being conservative with that interest rate estimate. The annual payment that this bond would have is just over $1 million at $1,042,000 for the next 15 years. And using the 1.7 billion of assessed value, that would be a debt service tax rate for the library of 6.12 cents. That 6.12 cents would generate these revenues to repay the bonds. And again, that's using assessed value that we know of today in 2026. And this would be an increase to the library's total tax rate. On our final slide, slide 4, you'll see what this tax rate impact would mean to a summary of individual taxpayers within Jefferson County, where we just provided a range of homes. We can see for a homestead value ranging from 75,000 to 500,000, you'll see the annual and monthly impact of what the 6.12 cents would mean. So looking at the U.S. Census Bureau the last 5 years, the median home value within Jefferson County is $194,000. And based upon the deductions that are available to homeowners, you'll see that that's a net assessed value of $83,484. And that on these 6 cents, that annually this taxpayer would be paying an additional $51.09 for this fund. I won't go over each one of these individual line items. You'll see in the summary table, but we've also provided a breakout of agricultural land as well as commercial property. With that, I would be happy to answer any questions. Then, if not, I would turn it over to Sarah Corral, the vice president. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. We know this is a lot, which is why we're here now at the beginning of the process instead of in a few months. I'm Sarah Carell with Ice Miller. We serve as bond counsel to the library. My role this evening really is to tell you where we are in the process, and the short answer is we're just getting started, as well as where we're headed with the bond process. So we wanted to start here before we were publishing any notices in the newspapers so that you knew this was coming. This is a controlled project. It's subject to petition remonstrance. So from here, we will be publishing several notices in the newspaper. But the first one will be to kick off the 2 public hearings that we will hold at the library board. From there, we'll have a 30-day period when anyone who would like to request petition remonstrance can do so. Should we not receive any requests, we would move forward with the library board. And should the library board still want to move forward with the project, we will be back here in July. Libraries are a little bit unique from our other governmental entities for a couple reasons. The main one being that library boards are appointed, not elected. Because they are appointed and not elected, we need approval from you before we can issue any debt. So we will be coming back in July to ask that you would hold a public hearing on the additional appropriation for the bond funds, as well as asking you to adopt a resolution to approve the issuance. From there, we would go back to the library. We would hold, if you're keeping track, it would be our 4th public hearing to finish up our bond approval process. And then, like Jason said, should this process continue to move forward, the plan would be to issue before the end of this year, particularly because of the cost escalations in building materials right now. So the 2 questions that I think I get the most often are, is this your debt and does this count against our geo debt limit? And from the county's perspective, the answer to both of those questions is no. It counts against the library's debt limit, and the debt is the debt of the library. So should there be any default issues or anything like that, it would not count against the county. With that, do you have any questions for anyone on the library?
Have we exhausted all grant funds?
You mean as far as like applying for grants?
Yes.
We'll continue to do that, but you know, it's hard to get $10 million, right? So it's, we will definitely still be following up on those kinds of things. We have gotten some, grant organizations saying that they would be supportive of a certain percentage. So that's just hearsay right now, but we're hoping to pursue those avenues as well. And you know, there's a possibility of some fundraising. It just, we would need the loan to get forward, so.
And procedurally, all of the documents will have maximum amounts, so we can move down as fundraising happens or as grants are received.
Operating expenses, will they go up, go down? What's anticipation on that?
I mean, while the building is
When
What
the
if,
building's finished?
finished, the operating costs should go down. Because we'll have a more efficient HVAC system. We will be more organized as far as like materials, so that there won't be duplications of those kind of things. It'll be a little easier to serve the public, so I think that the cost will not go up.
Well, I mean, you're looking at over $70,000 a year in utilities between gas and electric.
Right,
If you could cut 30 grand off of that, 25, 30 times 15,
exactly.
that helps out.
Exactly. And we chose the 15-year term because we wanted to be as efficient for the taxpayers as possible, rather than dragging it out and adding to their costs and our costs.
Are there any federal grants in play for local libraries for the state of Indiana?
We get some as far as trickling down, so like IMLS will give grants to the state library, and then some of that trickles down to the local libraries. We have lost some of that funding. For example, one of the grants used to help us pay for our internet service. It gave us a big discount off of that. We're not seeing that, but I've been pursuing Cat 2 funding through USAC. They work underneath the FCC, so that we can get more. In fact, I'm in the middle of one of those right now. So yeah, trying to do my due diligence to support the library as much as possible.
Can we go back to the timeline? You said, you all would be returning in July for the appropriation for the bond. After that, when was the time frame for before the end of the year for if that passes, what was that?
Yeah, so assuming, basically assuming that everything happens according to plan, that we, don't go through petition remonstrance. We would be back at the council in July. And just because of the way the meeting schedule falls, it would be September 8th would be the final library board.
Okay,
And then we would be selling bonds after that September 8th meeting.
And in addition to that, for the average person that thinks, so I'm gonna be having to pay for a new library. As far as long-term timeline, obviously getting funding in place is the ultimate goal of your board to move forward, but people are going to ask, so when is all of this taking place as far as the goal of the library for renovations? $10 million is a lot of money. Yeah, timeline even for continued progress.
Talking about how long would the construction take?
Yeah, and or begin,
Well, as soon as we get the bond, then we would be able to move forward with construction. I think it would probably work at. It's been a while since I've talked to the architect about this, but I think they're thinking like maybe 2 years.
and
Because we'll still have to operate.
yeah, that's what I was gonna ask,
Yeah.
your follow-up. Would you still be able to run the programs that you run for the community? And I mean, the children love the programs that you have down there, and I was wondering if that was going to be impactful or just move to another location.
We'll probably do a combination of things. Of course, we could funnel a lot to Hanover for different things, and we do that now, especially if we're doing like an outdoor event, because we have the space out there. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be times when we have to move one way or the other, but, the staff is very aware that we will all be flexible during the time, because we don't want to we want to keep any lack of access to a minimum. So we're going to be working hard at making that work.
Okay.
but for anything in tough decisions, even if this body has to make right away, my mind often thinks, what are taxpayers gonna ask me? What research I need to do, I'm representing them, and what are questions that I'm gonna get for like that may catch a snippet of something on social media or through the media in general. One, I guess, first question in regards to building cost, and obviously, again, looking how much this is gonna cost us, what even would we need to borrow, and for how many estimates, for example, were there multiple companies contacted as far as contractually, what we want and who would be our best fit?
So we're using the architect as kind of the general contractor at this point. I have looked at how much an HVAC system would be if I just did that, or just did that. And then, of course, as because I've been before you for that, the elevator was a separate thing. So I've been trying to do, and we have some in our rainy day fund that we know we're gonna have some skin in the game, we're gonna have to use those funds to supplement any construction that we do, so.
And this will be subject to traditional public bidding, all of the individual positions.
Sure, for the actual bidding for an actual chosen
Right.
contractor. I guess, and then I, 2 or 3 things popped in my head. The second is, cost comparison. I know downtown residents and many folks wouldn't want to see this leave our National Historic Landmark District and the value of having it downtown, and you're certainly trying to meet the needs of the Hanover population and or Brooklynville with reaching a bulk of our population on the hill. Has there been thought to, would this cost us $10 million if we just built a brand new building?
It has, and I've actually asked that question, so, and looked into it. By the time we would find the land, purchase the land and build the library, it would cost, yeah, it would cost a lot of money. I mean, we're looking, it would be much more expensive, probably close to $15 to $20 million to do that.
And the only other thing I can see people asking, right away, of course, I'm not saying a naysayer, but for somebody to say, I don't even use the library.
Yes.
And you're gonna raise my taxes.
Yes.
But even when we think of the value of, that a library card is free and or, the majority of services other than a few cents for a fax, or a copy are completely free. Has there been discussion of kind of the combination of potentially a small tax increase, but as you said, really a capital fundraising campaign / available grants that you're continuing to look at / some user fees so that folks that are indeed using it may share a little more of that, and again, kind of like what we're looking at with the animal shelter, some fundraising efforts plus hopefully some grant funding plus, additional allocation for the county, and your library board may not be in 100% agreement on, what's the best way for us to get these dollars. It's like, has there been discussion maybe of a combined approach with funds?
So as far as user fees go, we're kind of, so there's a whole chapter about public libraries in Indiana code. And one of the things is like, we really can't make money off of like copies and that kind of thing. We can charge what our costs are. So yes, I mean, there's things, and I will tell you that, it's interesting because we don't charge for our notary services, but oftentimes people will put it in the donation jar, so.
And there's no fines anymore.
There's no
late
fines
fees,
anymore.
whether it used to be.
And that's actually, you'd still get charged if you keep it forever, so we want it back. But that has actually been a really goodwill thing for people. We're getting more in the donation, section than we did when we were nickel and diming people over, having an overdue book that was 2 days overdue. So that's been a goodwill thing. People are starting to come back into the library more because they don't feel like that's a restriction. So we are seeing an increase in usage as well.
Is there a breakdown for the $10 million of what's being allocated
Yes.
per item, HVAC?
Right.
I'm just wondering, is it addressed, is the roof addressed, the box gutters?
It doesn't have it that specific,
flooring.
it's only 1 page, so.
I like that, that's
Yeah.
okay, I'm just,
So,
but there will be questions, and then the other part. For change, how much do you have for change orders and oh my gosh, is once you open the patient up, a lot of times.
Right.
Medical board, you
Right.
go.
Building that old.
And I will say
And
that
there's
the
some
office,
real slides
it's like
that
go to fix one thing and then you find, oh, well, you can take 10
need
steps
this
back.
first.
Yeah, so, the architect did figure a lot of that in, and I do have, unfortunately, I don't have copies for everybody, but if you want to take a look at it, I have that available.
And Judy, you may have mentioned this, did you specify the square footage that you're adding back into the building? By eliminating that boiler and that area back there,
So that,
pillar or whatever?
yeah, that part we want to, make into parking spaces. If
Mhm.
everything works out well. I'm looking to see if he's given me how much more square footage. I do have that information, but I don't have it with me.
Okay. So I'm just gonna, are you still going to have the 2 floors?
Yes.
Okay,
So the plan currently, and I know that once, you get started, then you realize, oh, we've got to do this a little differently or that differently. Is to, go backwards so that we can, because obviously we can't move forwards. And put like the children's area up there. And so that A, they can have more space, and B, it would be accessible from the main level, so you don't have,
go downstairs.
yeah, a lot of people with they have strollers and things, and plus your child takes off and it's,
Yeah.
it's down the maze, so,
Mhm.
it would be a safety issue as well, and also having bathrooms up there would be helpful. So that's what we're looking at, and then, upstairs, which is now, currently, we have offices up there,
Mhm.
so those are not normally public areas, but we would be able to utilize those spaces better too. And then, one of the plans is to, put like a teen area up there as well,
Mhm.
so that,
So you're probably not gaining a whole tremendous amount of square footage, you're just
right,
rearranging areas to make it more functional, get rid of some empty space, move some things around.
right.
But I would like to know if there's any additional square footage being, utilized.
Right.
Yeah.
There will be, right?
Right,
Because we're
there
gonna be
is.
connecting
Yes.
the back.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just don't have the name.
okay, no, that's fine, that's fine.
How many more parking spaces do you think you'll be able to get?
Well, we're hoping that we can make it so that all the staff can park in the back, so, because currently we're taking up spaces also on
street.
Elm Street, which is where, the patrons need access there, so. So we're hoping, I think there was like an additional 9 or 10, depends what we end up doing with the annex,
Mhm.
that needs a lot of work too.
What, so good?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Thank you for the question, I don't mean to.
No, I welcome the questions, thank you, because you're either gonna make me think of something I didn't think about.
The other shoe that might drop is how's Hanover's branch looking?
Mhm.
And that's the other thing, that's why the name of this project is to cover both of them, I mean, wouldn't it be lovely if there's extra money left over and we could use it for, because Hanover is celebrating their 16th anniversary in April, and it's still got the same carpet from
Mhm.
16 years ago, it still has the same paint from 16 years ago, as far as the building structure, it's in really good shape, so, and we did replace the roof on, all the buildings in 2018 when we had the hailstorm, so. But I mean, it's 2026 now. So,
I know.
no, I feel like we just did.
Yeah, I know. And that was financed just within the library.
That was the library and insurance that
Mhm.
covered that, so.
And grant, I think.
And one more question,
Sure.
I just thought of that, looking at my notes, a rainy day fund, I know that you have one for different things that happen throughout the year and you have to get in there. You mentioned that you would be using some of the funds towards the project. Do you have like a percentage of that, as your board met and said, yeah, we're gonna apply at least 25%, or what that might look like, or you haven't determined yet?
We have not.
Okay.
Currently, there's so much.
To your question, when people say, and I get that I don't even use the library, why would I want this? But for people who need it, there's no place else where they can get free books, free programs, free internet, free faxing, free email. I mean, 6 days a week.
Mhm.
So, even though, it's not a huge percentage of people who need it, the percentage who do, it's irreplaceable to them. And when you go in the library during the week, you'll see every single computer is
Mhm.
occupied. Every hotspot is checked out because people don't have internet and
Right.
you can't survive, you know?
Well, I think a good follow-up to that for me is every chapter of your life is different. So at some point in your chapters, you're going to utilize that
Absolutely.
library. Whether it's when you're a young family and your children are taking advantage of that, or maybe you're even a grandparent blessed to be that, and you're
100%.
helping out that way. And then you might
Libraries are
encounter
fluid,
you
too.
use it yourself while you're there. So I mean, I think I would think that the majority of our citizens use the library at some stage of their life. Some chapter.
And libraries adapt to what's needed.
Mhm.
You know, again, like she said, technology is the thing now. Then you get more computers, you make it more available. You know, you don't charge for copies. People need that all the time. So I think when people think of library, they just think, oh, I'm not gonna go check out a book. That is a
No.
minimal part
Right.
of what the library does.
And we do have quite a few,
I've recommended so many people to use your notary service.
yeah.
So, yeah,
And we do have quite a few people that never come in the building that use our services because they want ebooks and
Mhm.
e-audiobooks, and
Mhm.
so they, you know.
The schools use
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
Yeah, we.
Yeah. So see, it touches so many people.
It does, even if you don't walk in the building. Yes.
Exactly.
And the building itself, like she said, nothing has been done for 60 years, and it's obvious. The lighting's bad, the children's area is dark, close.
Well, it didn't look to me when I saw the lighting. It's been a long time since I was downstairs in the children's room, but I don't think is that LED yet?
Yes.
Oh, it is. Did you get those switched over?
Yes, we did.
Finally.
Yeah.
It's a process.
To put that 60 years into context,
Mhm.
my late wife was a student worker in high school in the library. And I remember going to see her, and the library was relocated at the National Guard Armory at
Mhm.
the time. And that's where
Hmm.
the library
When they
was,
were redoing
when it
the.
was redoing, when it was being redone from the mansion into the present library.
Wow.
And that would be, we're 77.
Mhm.
That's 60
Lot of water
years.
under the bridge, yeah.
Yeah.
We're visiting her in the stacks where you're.
I've heard stories.
Gentleman never tells.
Thank you so much. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate your
Yep,
time.
thank you for listening.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Anybody have any more questions for them? I like drawing classes that you have down there that
Oh,
Mr.
yeah.
Bosler does. Russell, I think I was doing that for a little while. That was a lot of fun. I think he's still going strong down there.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of things like that, if you want to make some copies of some things and you don't have to do it very often. So I go down there to get copies of things, so I have a copier,
Yeah,
so and like you said, like Pam said, every chapter, whether you're a kid or when you get older, sooner or later, you're gonna use that library. And the fact is that it's accessible if you ever want to use it. It's there for you.
mhm.
So we'll just have to see how this plays out.
Mhm.
I got one more quick question.
Sure.
The foundation of the Jefferson County Library in Madison, how far back does that go?
So the main building, is that what you're?
Not just the main building, I'm talking about the board, and
Oh, the
Oh.
organization.
yes, the organization.
April, 1818.
So would that be on the National Historic Registry?
Yes, I think we have a.
Mhm. It's on the front of your.
I mean, a lot of times
Oh, yeah.
that can connect to
Mhm.
helping with grants.
Right, right.
I have a question, with Senate Bill 1 and everything that's happening there, and a lot of our homestead properties are already at their max with the loss, how does that come into play with increasing
Good
it? Is it
question.
outside of?
It would be
So,
outside of that.
Okay, perfect, that's all, I have been doing a lot of looking into that
Yes.
lately, and
Same.
I was
Yeah.
a little concerned.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Okay.
And because, this, right now, the process.
Okay,
This would be the tax rate increase, it would be inside those caps already in place
Mhm.
for homeowners. And so it could, this tax rate increase could push more people to their cap, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So,
so a majority of, say, the city of Madison are already at that cap. Whenever we go through, when we're applying the deductions, we're seeing that a lot. So does that mean that more of the burden will be shared other places in the county?
yes, correct.
Okay.
If a taxpayer is at their cap, then it would be a burden to,
So the smaller townships that are not close are the ones that would have that.
Mhm. Smyrna.
Which
Middle-
statistically
yeah,
could be
Monroe.
the ones utilizing services facility even less than possibly that.
Mhm.
Anybody else have any questions or comments? Hey, thank you again for coming. Thank you. So moving on to transfers and additionals. We have. Go ahead, you take
Okay.
it.
So I have circuit court, they actually sent us two transfers. One was within the same 100 series, so we've already processed that. They have, as DJ has been here in the last few months to tell us already, they no longer have that need for the certified court interpreter since the state did approve to fund that another year. So they are needing those additional funds in psychiatric services after the last few, I guess, cases that they've had, they have a need for that. So they are requesting from Fund 1,000, account number 452-000-000-0232, which is certified court interpreter, to 1,393-200-000-00232 psychiatric services in the amount of $5,000.
Okay. I'd like to entertain a motion that we transfer from the certified court interpreter to an amount of 5,000 to psychiatric services for 5,000. I'd like to entertain that motion.
I'll motion that.
All right, do I have a second?
I can second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, all opposed, same sign. Okay,
And the Public Defender Board has also been utilizing the state interpreter services, which has been very valuable and is a cost saving. Obviously, when I first saw this, I got that it's March already and this is not good as far as expenses already.
Yeah, I would
from the psychiatric
anticipate that we
services.
will have an additional request,
Yeah.
because I think the plan initially was to use this $5,000 towards one of their employees
Employee,
is
yeah.
retiring, and then they're bringing in someone, they were gonna use this towards the end of the year, but it's now not going to be
Yeah.
available,
So I'm
so.
glad that funding is there now, but it does make me nervous that it's only March.
Yeah, by the end of the year, we will definitely have to do an additional unless things are thrown out and they do have juror money potentially that could be moved around, but we'll have to wait until closer
To the end.
to the end of the year to know, I guess, our fate in that. So additionals, the only new additional that is for this meeting is to fund 1170 lit public safety in the amount of $100,000. And this is for the equal distribution to county fire departments that was discussed at the joint session.
like to entertain a motion that we take $100,000 and equally distribute it to the county fire departments from 1170 lit public safety.
I'll make that motion.
In a second.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, that motion carries.
Okay, and then our final thing is resolution 2026-007. In the amount of $601,519, which is all of the additionals we've done so far this year. I just had to do it all as one advertisement. So, the only difference is that $100,000 that I have added in.
Okay. Like to entertain a motion that we accept resolution 2026-00-7. In the amount of $601,519. These are the January and February, these are the January and February approvals combined.
So moved.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
If there, I don't know if there's one floating around already for signature. I know the one that was emailed did not have this this 7.
Yeah, I have it for him
Resolution.
to pencil it in on there.
All right, does the council have anything they want to say?
I would, appreciate it. Forgive me for not asking for you to bring it. Would you update us on who is going to be a liaison for what department? I think there was a lot of, back and forth, who's moving here, who's doing what. So we don't have to do it tonight, but if you
We'll
would
get that.
inform us, like,
Yes,
who's
yes.
at the sheriff's, I pretty much know,
Yes.
but I want to make sure that I'm not.
I will get
liaison
that for you,
for-
Pam, and I would like for everyone to reach out to whoever you are the liaison for. By the next meeting, I'd like for everybody to kind of give me some feedback on how all that went and let me know that you all reached out to everybody that you said you would. So yes, I'll have that for you next time.
I don't do homework.
Huh?
I don't do homework.
Give us a call.
Take some donuts someplace, you know? That's-
I do that frequently. It works. They like to see you when you have donuts.
Oh, man. Public comment. Does anybody in the public have anything they want to say? Except if your last name's Black. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry.
Just let council know the fire departments are moving forward. We did get selected by Indiana Department of Homeland Security to host firefighter 1 and 2 for Jefferson County and other surrounding counties. We have 25 students in it now. The state of Indiana is dumping $25,000 into Jefferson County for this. It will take them all the way through their training. It also has a waiting list of another 18 that we will not be able to put in.
So you said that, how many different schools are there? So is it just like immediately surrounding Jefferson County?
13 counties.
13 counties, okay, thank you.
Region 9. So we've been pushing for this for a long time. It is being hosted at Madison Township. Madison Township used to host and do all the training for free, for several years. And they got cumbersome with all the new rules and regulations. But, the state of Indiana reached out to us. They wanted one to be here. And so we opened up our doors wide. We do have a house to burn for live evolutions. But I think we've touched every county fire department that wants to send people. Like I said, we've got people on waiting list.
And of the 25 students, how many are from our county then?
That's the only thing I don't have a breakdown on yet. They're still trying to, we're doing juggling acts because people that have firefighter 1 don't have to take the class until they need firefighter 2. So that opens it up for other people and these other ones can step in, but they're spending $1,000 per student for this.
How many instructors will you have? Just wondering.
Inside this county, we'll have at least 6,
Mhm.
but then we also have from the state and their adjacent instructors.
Mhm.
So which Kent was very generous to let us host a class out there for the instructors and services that we have to do every year.
Mhm.
2 weeks ago. So, it's a pretty big deal for this county because we haven't had the state here since probably the 80s. So, we've all just done it ourselves and got it through the state test and everything, but now the state has stepped in and said, we want to help.
Mhm.
And, I'm gonna try to push forward next year, what they call a spoken hub, which will put a training facility here. So that would have where all the props are and everything.
How many acres do you own?
We
Does
got
the
4 acres,
4 acres right around there?
yeah.
Is it to the side or is it back towards the
All towards
neighborhood?
back.
Okay,
So,
I haven't looked at that on the GIS, so I didn't.
yeah, so everything's looking very promising. We're being proactive and we're trying to get more people to join, which I think we are. I think Kent has seen an uptick, Hanover, Mass Township, Rikers Ridge, Canaan, Brook Deputy. So, because in 2 weeks, we have another class for auto extrication and we had 50 students at auto extrication class Sunday. So that was from all just Jefferson County.
Mhm.
So we're trying to touch everybody to be prepared and start getting and then after this, start getting rescue tools to those areas instead of having to wait on let's say rescue six to go to deputy.
Mhm.
The deputy's already got rescue tools, or DuPont, and Canaan's got rescue tools, so we're slowly moving around, starting to fill these firehouses up with the rescue tools. So, the deputy is the big standout, because they've got some nice tools. Believe me, they got nice tools. So, and equipment to go along with that. So, but we're hitting on all this. And, like I said, we had 50 students, every rescue truck in Canada is at our station Sunday, so everybody can go through them. So it's a pretty big deal. It's going on in Canada this time.
Wouldn't it be great if we could keep 8, 10, 12 of those students? Cause you said there's another 18 on the waiting list, that's
Yeah.
43.
Yeah,
Would it be nice if we could keep a pretty good chunk of them here? That'd be great.
yeah. So, and we're promoting that even if you go outside the county to get a job, but you live here, you can volunteer on your days off.
That's so
Big
encouraging.
firefighters outside the counties make anywhere between $60,000 and $80,000.
Mhm.
So we always try to capitalize on that as long as they come back and volunteer on their days off.
I would say Madison Township is uniquely situated with the space and the trainings. You got the big format screens and things that it really, I mean, your space can host a whole lot of bodies and, as a center of excellence in driving all the county companies and offering training that allows us not to be collegial when we show up on the scene, but also we fall in on each other's equipment and we know what you got and or at least find when you say, go get me, a glass master from, and you know which compartment it is, you can grab it and help, open up a vehicle and extraction, you participate in extraction. So a little mutual, we're getting used to each other. We no longer hold our nose.
Well, you old people, I'm not old yet.
Yeah.
Well, I just figured you wouldn't be doing anything when you retired. It's good to see you doing something meaningful,
I've been at the firehouse at least once a day.
I bet you have.
So, plus I run batteries up. So.
Yeah.
So,
Very good job.
Thank you so much for that. That is very encouraging, and it's so encouraging. All right, any more public comment? We got IT update?
Sure.
Remember?
So
Okay.
we went out and got the two other proposals, so that would have been 3 total. The one was 1.5 times more than what the last one was, so he didn't answer back when I said that was a little outside our range. So the two are close. We're still evaluating proposals to figure out which one. One of them, both of them have offered a 5-day. Someone at the courthouse or in the area 5 days a week. The other guy said he might be able to do it with 3, so he's given us those two proposals. We figure early on it's gonna be 5 days a week to get started, and then it might go to 3. So we will have to we need to kind of look through that and see what would work best for us. Our present service has kind of disappeared, so we gotta get moving on this. Yeah, it's been. As the word goes, if he comes into the courthouse, he is tracked down, so it's not.
So the girls in the front office will say, he's in the hall and do you need him? And everyone starts.
A bell
calling his
goes off,
name.
right?
Absolutely.
So,
You should like to have the sheriff's department let you know when they enter the building.
Yeah.
Code.
so like I said, we're still looking for the 2. We'd like to be able to, give them a go-ahead here in the next month, so we need to advertise, right?
Yes, so,
I was wondering if we could add, I mean, not that we'll use it all, but if we could advertise with the more, there's like a $20,000 difference between the 2, but we're trying to evaluate what does that include? Is there something in there that we're missing? But if we advertise for the amount that we need to finish the year, we may not need it all, but we just wanna make sure so we can keep things going.
Right.
So, I mean, and that would be about 142,000 more. We're talking to Heather, splitting it up between,
I kind of felt like it would be a fair thing to split it up between lit and, public safety lit. Because a large portion of this new increase is kind of to take care of the much larger jail. And here, there are a lot of 911 upgrades that need to be done, which is definitely public safety. And And I think eventually we will have to look of moving that IT expense from a property tax driven fund to an income tax driven fund within the next few years anyways, but we could start that transition this way.
There'll be a lot of that possibly going on.
Yeah.
So. Like I said, we're still trying to figure out, would 3 days be enough? Like I said, I think that early on, it's gonna have to be 5 to get that transition taken care of. So,
Scalable, maybe.
yeah. I mean, it has been interesting, you know, they give you a proposal and then you come back and say, well, you know, and they're like, well, maybe. And so then they come back and they sharpen the pencil a little bit, so we may try this one more time and see what happens. So, but, yeah, we could advertise that.
It would at least, we would have the money in for April. For the April meeting to vote on.
Yeah.
Okay, I will, and you guys fine with that, splitting it
Yeah.
and just putting,
I, should we vote on that? Probably.
She's gonna advertise.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
advertising.
So we can do it then.
Yeah.
We'll do it in April, we'll vote on that in April,
Yeah.
we'll have dividing between the lit and the public safety lit.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how much was that again? Did you say 140?
Yes, 142.
Well, you stood up pretty quick over there, I like that.
I was gonna say thanks. I
Okay.
mean, it's. We said, I mean, we took a step forward when we went with the current service, but I think we found out not having someone in the area has been a big issue. And calling and trying to get someone to come down.
Mhm.
I've heard so much negative about the current situation from many departments.
I mean, like I said, early on, it was a good move, and it was interesting, I mean, they have gone through and looked at what we have, and they're like, well, your equipment is good. I mean, it's not like you guys are a bunch of trash, so I mean, we have taken that step, because before it was hodgepodge and.
They definitely upgraded us through the years.
First stories about that server room.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, you can sit down now, Dave. Thank you. All right, does anybody have any more comments?
I got
All right, Bobby.
quick update for those of you who don't know. Jefferson County reapplied for the RDA funding that was left over. And this time we partnered up with Ivy Tech to promote their vet tech training. And Ivy Tech's graciously offered us ground right there off the parking lot. I mean, they would do classroom training, walk right across hands-on. It's a no-win. But anyway, we went down last Friday, and when I walked in and saw the list of 23, and I can't tell you what I said, but anyway, when the dust settled, we came in number 3rd. So, which I was pleasantly surprised. So we go back Friday at 10 o'clock and we'll see what our funding is, but just a quick update on that. It was quite a wonderful day for the group.
Is that the final, Bobby? Is that gonna be the final when they make the decision?
Yeah.
Is there only one gonna get these monies or, okay, okay,
That's
That's up to them.
We don't know, but to be in the top 3.
man, that's
I
amazing.
think surely we'll get something out of it.
I know Tricia was concerned because they kind of were gonna hit her with some rapid fire questions, you know, they were like boom, 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 that was what she was talking about, that
Well,
she was kind of gonna be in a hot
I
seat.
think that's one reason that we scored so high, because we only had a month to get all this together. We didn't have it in by, I believe it was 1st February, but anyway, the committee worked so hard, and I mean, we really put a presentation. The 2-minute spiel, Amanda Harson was great, but when they started asking more questions of us than they had anybody else. And then for us to come out, at one time, we were number 1, so that was really something, but we'll cross our fingers and hope for the best Friday, so.
Yes, thank you.
And I think, to add, I mean, the cost for the other projects was such that there will be funding. So if it got to the 3rd one, there would be funding left over, so to speak. So the first one, you know, we kind of joked, that's what I did, the water line in Salem was $750,000, but that was number 1. So.
Regional benefit.
Okay,
We'll tap on to save them water. Yeah.
thank you. That's very, very encouraging news. Does anybody else have any more comments? All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn then.
So moved.
All right, can you get a second?
No, sorry.
All in favor?